Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like Mac Voices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at macvoices.com/magazine or search for Mac Voices Magazine on Flipboard. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the Talk of the Mac community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, as you know, I kind of like to mix technology with friendships and find out a little more about the people behind the tech instead of these things just being big faceless companies. They're really operated by people, honest. And I think it's good to get to know some of those people. And when you can mix that with maybe talking about some new hardware, it's even better. And that's what we get to do today. I'd like to introduce you to Mihir Shah. He is the new CEO of one of my favorite companies, Drobo. Mihir, it's great to see you.
Hey, Chuck. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on Mac Voices.
Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. As I said, I'm a huge fan of the company and of your products. Under the heading of full disclosure, Drobo has sponsored the show, or does sponsor the show, but that's not why. Because I own more Drobos than I like to admit.
Which is the case with a lot of customers of ours.
Well, it's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. And of course, hiding in the background there is our friend, Mr. Mark Fuccio. Mark, good to see you as always.
Hello, Chuck. Good to see you. Good to be talking to your Mac Voices audience once again.
Yes. So, well, I'm not going to ask why you're here. I'm just going to let you chime in whenever you want to. Mihir, you are the new CEO of Drobo, and I was kind of anxious to find out a little bit about you and your background and how you came to Drobo.
Sure. Obviously it's a long story, but I'll try to make it a little bit short for your audience. I was approached by a couple of folks last May, I'm going to say about April of 2015, and I had heard about the Drobo brand. I was formerly at Brocade before this, and the former CMO of Brocade was actually the CEO of Drobo at one point as well, a gentleman by the name of Tom Bioki. And so I'd heard the brand. I heard that they were doing great things with storage, and the opportunity came for me to partner with a group of investors to actually buy the business. And I thought it was a fantastic product, and one of the key things that was really exciting, I had 2 weeks to close the deal, and so I had one key diligence story that I always share with a lot of people is I brought a Drobo device home, and I told my wife, who's a non-techie, that you got to be able to set this up. That's the only way I'm moving forward with this transaction. And she set up a Drobo 5-day product in under 10 minutes. In fact, it took her longer to take the drives out of the drive packaging than it did for her to set up the Drobo. And so right then and there, it just kind of felt like it was a special company, right? They've taken something so complex where we know data is growing rapidly, especially in the consumer and prosumer space, and they've just made it really easy to use. And so when we looked at some of the, quickly looked at some of the other products, they were very difficult, right? You had to screw in drives. You didn't know whether the drives could mix and match, and so a lot of the things that when we looked at it, the product differentiation, it really separated, Drobo was able to really separate from the pack, right? And it was really around the flexibility as well as the ease of use set us apart. And we know kind of towards while we were acquiring the business, the revenues were going down very fast because obviously a lot of customers didn't know where the company was going. But I think over the last 8-9 months, the business is back on great footing. We've grown revenues 50% quarter-over-quarter, and for the first time in the company's 10-year history, we're a profitable company as of December. So as we kind of reinvest those profits into newer products and newer innovations and new business models that we're looking at, it's just been exciting. And my gut when we first did this deal, I just knew it had a lot of potential.
It's really good to hear that you're profitable for a lot of reasons, obviously, but you've hit I think the key points with the Drobo that I love. I love the simplicity of it. As much as I like hacking and geeking around with different things, when it comes to storage and when it comes to certain things, I just want to plug them in and have them work without a lot of effort. And storage is something that we take for granted right up to the point that something goes wrong, and that's why I love the Drobo.
That's great. It's great to have great fans like yourself.
So one of the things we're here to talk about is a new product. Before we get to that, though, Drobo is sort of interesting because it serves two markets. It serves it can be a home user product, but it serves the more sophisticated home user, I guess, the more sophisticated individual or family. But then there's the whole business side. And I'm curious as to where you see the focus right now. I know the product we're going to talk about is a little more focused toward the business side, but going forward, do you perceive that the needs of people are increasing from a storage standpoint, especially with the advent of the cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the and I'll take a view on this. We have two kind of distinct segments, like you said. We characterize as consumers and prosumers, and the SMB marketplace, right? And I'll take the consumers and prosumers first. One of the things that I see at home is every time I fill up my iPhone with pictures, I get a little thing that pops up saying, "Hey, would you like to buy more storage? Would you like to buy more storage?" Right? And you end up doing that. We feel once you get to kind of that 1 terabyte type environment, the cloud actually becomes an expensive proposition, right? And so how can you harness the cost-effective nature that the Drobo provides and package that into something that the consumer would enjoy to use, or we can delight the consumer in that manner. And so, we've been really looking hard at that market, and with the new iPhone coming out with 4K capabilities on video, higher resolution pictures, it's only going to get more and more dense, right? And with if you just watched or if you just saw in the news, Verizon is actually pulling out of the public cloud business. So you're going to see a lot of these cloud players kind of shake out over the next year or two. And where are people going to put their data, right? Are they going to go migrate to a more expensive cloud, or are they going to actually bring it back home? So that's one point for the consumer, the prosumer. The other story I like to share is early on when I joined, I got a phone call from a mother who used to post all of her kids' pictures on Facebook. And there was actually a kidnapping attempt for one of or her daughter, because the perpetrator found out where they lived based on the posting of the pictures on Facebook. And she actually took all her pictures off of Facebook and migrated them to a Drobo, right? And what that kind of told me was that there's this security component to it now, right? We're going to need to keep people safe. And how can you get dense storage, again, that's a little bit closer to home and in your control? And then, the second piece of that was Drobo's never marketed to the female demographic. And, the women are the primary memory keepers of the family. And I was kind of shocked to hear that we hadn't, reached out to the mom communities, the mom bloggers, to show them how easy this product is to use. So I kind of combined how my wife was using it with this whole new market that's out there. And I don't know if you've been following, we are going after that market hardcore because storage has typically been sold to the male demographic, right? And how can you use the aesthetics that Drobo has, the simplicity that Drobo has, and the brand recognition that it has, and carve another market out for yourself? So that's been very, very successful for us.
The cloud is great. There's no question about it. But like you say, when a cloud service goes out, that means all those photos that are up there, you have to bring them down.
Yes.
And then you may have to send them back up. And that's not an inconsequential thing anymore in the days of big megapixel cameras, even on our phones, and also data caps coming from the internet service providers. Some are being enforced, some are not, but these are all concerns. And the last thing I want to have happen is have an urgent need to get all my material back down. I need someplace to put it in the first place, but then be fighting with the data cap, worrying that maybe I don't have enough bandwidth to get all the photos down before the data cap, shuts me down or whatever, or the server shuts down. So there are a lot of concerns and considerations here that you have to use. And that's, again, with Drobo's expandable storage, it's a perfect solution to have. If you want to have a copy in the cloud, great, but have a copy locally as well.
Absolutely, and we're coming out, and so that's one segment, and check out, share with you with the business segment. You know, the company historically, when it went through the big investment rounds back in the late 2000s, they wanted to go up market to go compete against NetApp and EMC, and that's a market that we just don't want to compete in. And we feel we're really strong in the business side is really kind of the small and mid-sized business, and I'm going to even call it kind of sub 100 employee type companies where they can't afford a full-time IT person to go and manage a storage environment. They just need to put something up there simple to back up emails and to make sure that their data is safe. And that kind of primarily targets, or that target is really the focus of where we'd be spending a lot of investment dollars.
So let's talk about what we have new. And I'm going to have to look at the cheat sheet to make sure I get it right. But you are introducing the Drobo B810i, which is an 8-bay iSCSI Drobo. And as I understand it, this is a successor to a previous model, but it adds some more goodies.
Absolutely, it's a successor to the B800i, which was an extremely popular product for us. And I think it's important because a couple things. One is that it shows that the Drobo community that we're investing in new product introductions. We have things like SSD capability, right, where you can stick in solid state drives, and our system automatically tiers data into two tiers, hot data and cold data. And so anything that's hot or used more frequently, our system automatically recognizes it, and it's able to pull that data closer to you and get it to you a lot quicker. And again, this device is a sub $2,000 device. I don't think you're going to find something like this in the marketplace that's this easy to use at that price point.
So who do you see this as principally targeted for? Is it that sub 100 employee business, or do you see this going a little bit larger?
Yeah, we think it'll probably be the sub 800 employee. If it goes larger, it'll probably be specific work groups within large corporations. And again, we'll go after things like the creative professionals that are going to require high dense media files or to store high dense media files. Small to mid-sized dental offices for X-ray capture, physicians' offices, for ultrasound, those types of things. Small work groups, email archiving, those types of things.
One question I know I've had with some Drobo models is the ability to migrate the data pack from Model A to Model B, whatever those models happen to be. This is one that can you migrate the data pack from the previous model to this one?
Mark, can you answer that question?
Yes. So here, Drobo is always one of the tenets of just sort of protecting data and making it always accessible. Is that as data needs grow, you can move from one drive pack from one member of the family to the other. Now, Drobo's had several different product families. So in this one, we hear mentioned the B800i, its predecessor. You'll be able to take the drive pack out of that, put it into the new B810i, and you'll get the benefit of the ability to use hybrid storage and automatic data tiering. Plus, it's a great upgrade path. So people maybe have had those systems for going on 5 years now. So it's something they can move it over, and because of the capabilities of the new system, it's compatible, and they get additional performance and new functionality out of it.
One of the things I've always admired about Drobo is that you've resisted the urge to just stack feature upon feature upon feature into the Drobos, features that probably such a small percentage, if any, of your audience will use. But so instead of writing up a press release and saying, "Hey, we just added this and we just added that," you've pretty much kept it simple. You've kept it stuck to the knitting and kept your product. You've maintained the core value of the product without diluting it. But at the same time, when a new model comes out, we all expect some enhancements or something new. There are plenty of places folks are going to be able to go to get all the gory details. But can you give us some of the highlights of this new model?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like Mark said, it's absolutely going to be faster, right, than the previous model. It's going to have this SSD capability, which a lot of competitors don't have. And again, the way that we kind of viewed this, Chuck, is what are the use cases and how our customers are using it instead of just throwing out 300 or 400 SKUs. You look at some of our competitors out there, and they got tons of different SKUs and they're trying to address every single market. But at the end of the day, for me, and the way that I look at it is it easy to use? Is it expandable? And then does it protect the investment in the long term? Because at the end of the day, those are the three most important things that customers look for. And especially our set of customers. And we can tell because people are willing to pay a premium for that, right? You can go out and get a competitive product for 30 or 40% less. But you know what? You're going to spend a week trying to configure it.
And maybe you can buy it cheaper, but my experience with some of those options is that not only are they time consuming, but that I chew up all my time trying to learn how to use them. And of course, with all their features, I'm tempted to go and work with them, even though I probably don't need them. And we're right back to what I started with. It's the Drobo. I plug it in, I put the drives in, and I'm set. I don't have to worry about it. If I want to go and dig around and see some of the other things that are there, that's great. But I'm not required to. And I feel like with some of the other products, you're almost required to go through that gateway, dig around in there before you can even start to use it for the basic storage that you want.
Yeah, and we get a lot of these requests. So how come you're not doing this, and how come you're not doing that? And to me, like I always say, and I'll give you a prime example. We're coming out with some new features, and it's more services, right? For example, on the 810N or the 5N, our NAS product line, we're finally going to you're going to be able to cloudify that product. So you'll have an app that'll sit on your mobile devices as well as your computer, and when you're on the go, you'll be able to access your Drobo, right, and the files on that. And again, these are things that customers asked for, and there are ways to do it right now where it's hackable on these competitive products. But I've really forced the engineering and the product team to say, hey, look, it's got to be less than a minute setup, right? It cannot be a day-long event where I'm trying to figure out how to punch a firewall or those types of things. It's got to be in 3 to 4 steps. I got to be able to access my Drobo, and I'm proud to say that I've taken a look at the beta product, and I think I got it under a minute. That we should be able, as soon as this app is released, we'll be able to access our Drobo, configuring it, your mobile device in less than a minute. So everything is going to be about that. We're going to be introducing other services, some more software type things that, again, just make life easy. Like think about, one of the things I think about is once every month, my wife asks me to take the pictures off her iPhone and put it on a storage device. And it's about a 6-hour process. We're coming out with a device or some software where once you walk into your home, the Drobo will recognize that you're inside your home, and it'll suck the pictures out of your phone over the Wi-Fi network. And then you can choose to keep a copy on your phone or not, or delete it as it sucks it out. So that way you always have a copy that's backed up, and then if you need to access it, you access it through our new remote access app, so to speak. So again, how can we solve the problems for the everyday people? That's how we're developing products.
I love that because I think that can spill over to the enterprise side as well as the consumer side. Sometimes we all get enamored with all this stuff that we can do, and then you take it and show it to a non-techie, and you realize just how challenging and how difficult it is, even though it may be easy for us because we've learned the steps or we know the steps. So I think we still have a long way to go to simplify some of this stuff, and it sounds like that's the path that you're on.
Absolutely. It has to be simple. And if you, one day we'll invite you to one of our town halls here, which we have with all the employees. Our mission is preserve simplicity in everything we do. From the moment that the customer interacts with our product, our support, our salespeople, it's got to be a simple process, right? And I think we're getting a lot of that traction now with the culture around here at Drobo.
What kind of pricing is there on the new device?
I think we're at $16.99.
Yeah, so as with most Drobos, we sell it in a variety of ways. unloaded, no drives. It's $16.99. But if people buy it at the Drobos store before April 30th, they can get two terabyte drives free. And if they use the code MARK100, they can get $100 off of that Drobo as well. And then we offer it in a variety of bundles. We offer full up with 8 6 terabyte drives, 8 4 terabyte drives. And then for people who have workloads where they need an acceleration from SSDs, we offer 2 SSDs, whether 250 gigabyte, 2 of those plus either 4 6 terabyte or 4 terabyte drives.
And of course, it goes without saying that you can buy the drives from Drobo, or you can use something that you already have, or buy them from your favorite third-party entity. That it doesn't really matter. It's very affordable, especially to get up and running to buy them from Drobo, but you don't have to.
That's exactly right. It's made as a convenience on the Drobo store, but you can buy the Drobo from us or any one of our partners and buy drives from whoever your favorite drive supplier is, or if you have some drives, repurpose them.
Mihir, the most important question of all, how did your wife feel about you joining Drobo?
It was funny because it was on the heels of exiting my last company, and I told her I was going to take the summer off, spend it with the kids, and I had 2 weeks to close this deal. And I told her, look, honey, you got 5 days of vacation this summer. That's all I can offer you. And so, look, it's been a wonderful ride. She absolutely loves the product. She's happy that I'm happy. But again, we've done so much work, Chuck. I mean, there have been a lot of nights where it's been, midnight, 1 a.m. Going home. But, the good news is we're a healthy, we're a profitable company, we're a growing company. Again, I like to call us the oldest startup in Silicon Valley.
That's an interesting characterization. Does it still feel like a startup? I realize you're new to it, but does the culture still feel like a startup culture?
Absolutely, the energy is back, Chuck. I can't even begin to tell you. People are smiling again in the halls. We have a huge. We spend a lot of time in employee engagement activities. Apparently the favorite one is Bagel Wednesdays. Who would have thought, right? And so every Wednesday we get bagels for the team. We have new product parties, launch parties again. People are just happy and excited again, and so I do feel it quite a bit. A fantastic team. We've added folks from several leading technology companies to my staff from around the Bay Area, and everybody's just extremely passionate, which is exciting, right? We've introduced a set of values that we're going to make decisions by. Within the company, and I can't be happier.
This interview may take a kind of unexpected turn, and I don't want you to reveal anything proprietary, obviously, but how did you come in and foster that? I think there are a lot of people that would be interested because of their own workplaces. How do you foster that startup culture, and especially if you're walking into a culture that maybe has not had that or has lost a little bit of that?
Absolutely. Actually, someone just asked me that question days ago. I think first and foremost, it's transparency, right? Whether it's good or bad, you have to be able to share the information with your teammates, right? And I think people appreciate that. And like I said, we just had a town hall the other day, and we said, hey, we had a great Q4. We're a little bit behind on month 1 of Q2. We think we can, or Q1, we think we can make it up, but we need all your help, to go do that. I think the second thing is just recognizing people, for the efforts that they put in, it's the little things that they do, right? I'll give you a prime example. We hired an intern to help with pre-sales, and she had taken a call, and the gentleman actually had sent me an email saying, hey, such and such has just done a fantastic job. I just kind of wanted to call it out. And, and we recognized this individual during our town hall, and it's her first 3 weeks at the company, right? So I think things like that go a long way. And I think the other thing is I don't really act like a CEO. Like a lot of CEOs try to act like a CEO. I mean, I'm dressed up for you because Mark told me to dress up for you. But I'm typically in jeans. I'm typically walking around. I'm asking how people are doing. We joke around a little bit. We wrap people's desks up with Christmas paper so they can't get into them. And again, it's just, I always tell people, look, if you're not happy here at Drobo, my goal is to make you happy. And if you want to go somewhere else that's going to make you happy, I'll make that reference call for you, right? And so kind of the old adage is you kind of train them so they're going to leave, but you keep them happy so they'll stay with you forever. And it seems to work so far.
I can think of a number of companies that I hope are listening to you right now, because that is all great advice, and it fascinates me to this day that sometimes it's the simplest things that mean the most to people and energize them, as opposed to the 401k or the profit sharing. I mean, those are important too, no question about it. But it's sometimes just that human thing that makes all the difference. It
is, and I tell people, look, whether it's everybody's got to have a customer service type mentality, whether it's internal or external. You got to have a how can I help type mentality. And the other thing is I have one-on-ones with every employee, try to do it every quarter, right? It's 15 or 30 minutes, and I ask the question, what can I be doing better, right? And a lot of people ask that question and won't kind of change the way that they're doing things. But I take that very seriously, right? And again, I'm just a person that removes obstacles from everybody else trying to get their day-to-day job done, and that's kind of how I view it.
I think I've heard that somewhere else before, and again, that is the perfect job of a CEO, because everyone else is supposed to be doing the work, you're supposed to be doing the management, and what better thing to do than just remove some of the obstacles?
Absolutely, and you dig in, right? There are times around making coffee, or there's times that we're a small but mighty team.
Small but mighty, Drobo.
Yeah.
I think we just have a new tagline.
There you go.
So I don't know, Mihir, Mark, give us the details on where folks should go to learn more about I got to do the cheat sheet, the B810i, and all the other Drobo models, of course.
Okay, I think you were adding one more zero. It's B810.
B810, sorry.
And best place to find it is on Drobo.com. They can buy it at DroboStore.com or through any of our partners. And as we're recording this, the information is under embargo until 8 a.m. Wednesday, the 23rd of February.
So this will not go out before 8 a.m. on the 23rd of February, but after that, it's go for it. Mihir, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for the time. I hope this is the first of many visits to Mac Voices.
Absolutely. And please, if you're in the area or if you're around here, come by and stop by. We'd love to have you over for Bagel Wednesdays.
Be careful what you offer. Mark knows I'll show up.
Show up, please.
Mark, it's good to see you all. Also, thanks for arranging this. And we have to talk about you forcing Mihir to dress up. That just,
He's like, make sure it's a shirt that doesn't have lots of stripes on it. I even wore nice shoes for you.
I tell you to put your feet up, but no, that'll give the wrong impression. So thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. You could do a whole lot worse than go and check out Drobo, whether you are buying for a company or buying for yourself. This is the kind of expandable storage you want to keep your data safe. Check it out. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Mac Voices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the Mac Voices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest Mac Voices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free Mac Voices Magazine on Flipboard by visiting MacVoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at CashFly.com.